There's nothing worse than being un-Australian. I should know. I've been Australian all my life. And I'm sickened by the creeping tide of un-Australianism eroding our great traditions. Like our custom of eating lamb on Australia Day. Un-Australianism is everywhere. For example, people wearing those plastic brightly coloured flip-flop shoes with flowers on them. What's wrong with rubber thongs in simple primary colours? If I hear another person say thong, when they mean those swimming costumes punchy Brazilian blokes wear up their bums, I'll do my block. Sadly, the scourge of un-Australianism has even infected our national day. A balanced Australia Day diet should consist of a few nice juicy lamb chops and beer, and perhaps a bit of pavlova for those with a sweet tooth. Yet your long-haired, dull-bludging types are indulging their pierced taste buds in all manner of exotic, foreign, often vegetarian cuisine. Chicken burger value meals, pizzas, a number 42 with rice. It's an absolute disgrace. And people ask why we need capital punishment. Do you think the diggers in the trenches were fighting for tofu sausages? No. They were thinking of grabbing a lamb chop off the barbie with their bare fingers, sustaining third-degree burns, then sticking their hands in a relieving esky to fish out a cold one. Look at our national song, Waltzing Matilda. It's about a bloke trying to get a nice bit of lamb into his tucker bag, not spicy chicken wings. The soap-avoiding, pot-smoking, hippie vegetarians may disagree with me, but they can get stuffed. They know the way to the airport, and if they don't, I'll show them. So the message is clear, even for you backpackers. Roll out the barbie, ensure the gas bottle's filled, stack the fridge full of lamb, and prepare the invitation list. So don't be un-Australian. Serve lamb on Australia Day. You know it makes sense. I'm Sam Kekovich. My fellow Australians, the incidence of un-Australian behaviour over the past year was enough to make me choke on my lamb chops. And it was all down to one thing, not enough lamb. For example, Australian models holidaying in Asia would get in a lot less trouble if they carried a couple of lamb chops in their handbags. Lamb could have prevented the buffheads perpetrating violence on our beaches. It's bloody hard to bash someone with a cutlet. And we might not have lost the Ashes if our cricketers picked up lamb chops instead of mobile phones. Why on earth did they dispatch lurid text messages to English trollops when plenty of Aussie shielders would gladly target their middle stump? Yet as mishaps spread across the land like bird flu through a Chinese chicken coop, what were we doing about it? Bugger all. It's time to remind ourselves of what lies at the core of our national identity. A lamb chop and a barbie. Being Australian doesn't mean you have to call the opposition captain a wanker, even if he is, or smother everything in tomato sauce till it resembles an outpatient in a casualty ward, or pull on a pair of budgie smugglers. I prefer you didn't. And you don't have to spend every Friday night on the piss till your best friend looks like Elle Macpherson. Throw up in a cab, then trip over the garden gnome before passing out on your front lawn. In fact, to be as Australian as I am, don your apron. Mine says chop gun. Whack some nice juicy lamb chops on the barbie, invite everyone over. If you can't pronounce their name, just call them mate and celebrate living in the best bloody country on earth. So don't be un-Australian. Serve lamb on Australia Day. You know it makes sense. I'm Sam Kekovich. In this election year, Australians are faced with a stark choice. Allow un-Australianism to flourish or take a stand against it before it becomes as prevalent as exposed genitals on a reality television show. I love Australia, her far horizons, her jewelled sea, the Aussie people and our Australian way of life. In the past year, I've travelled all over this wide brown land. I've met a few people, both young and old, and listened to what they had to say. I've seen firsthand the devastation un-Australianism has caused, and frankly, I've had a gutful. The desecration of the Australian flag was bad enough. Imagine if people started burning lamb chops as well. And un-Australianism played a role in the greatest disaster to befall our nation since tofu, the early retirement of our greatest Olympic swimmer. Is there anything more un-Australian than those gold medal hungry Yanks who try to poison a big-hearted Aussie champion with the lure of Hollywood just to stop him racing? It's like Far Lap all over again. That's the danger of too much LA and not enough LAMB. Our junket-loving, limousine-riding, over-superannuated politicians will bombard you with promises in the coming months. But throwing money at the problem is not the answer. We need to throw lamb at it instead. So men and women of Australia, it's time. It's time for the Australia Day party. Our multi-pronged lamb plan will take tax cuts off the table and dish out lamb cuts instead. Extradite the terrorists who planned gas attacks on the Aussie cricket team in London and put their skills to good use filling barbecued gas bottles. They shouldn't mind the odd explosion. Scrap English tests for migrants. Who cares how they use their tongue, as long as they can use their tongs. Speaking of tests, there's one way to keep the Ashes permanently in Australia. Make our own. The ashes from a good lamb barbie are a lot better than some burnt pommy stump anyway. And reduce global warming by finding alternatives to fossil fuels to power barbies. Uranium, for example. Think how many lamb chops a portable nuclear reactor could cook. If the koala suit-wearing, tree-hugging, alfalfa-munching lobby has a problem with that, they can chain themselves to the nearest plane. I hear North Korea's nice this time of year. But governments can't stop un-Australianism alone. A lamb-led recovery has to start at the grassroots, next to the Hills Hoist, with the Australia Day party. It's a simple concept. On January 26th, all Australians should gather in backyards around the nation, throw some lamb chops on the barbie and have an Australia Day party of their own. My fellow Australians, I have a dream that by Australia Day 2007, no Australian child will be living without a nice juicy lamb chop. And I have a dream that on Australia Day, mung beans and lamb chops can sit together, side by side on the same plate, as long as it's not mine. And I have a dream that lamb can unite Australians of all colours and creeds, even hairy-legged sandal-wearing lentil eaters. So don't be un-Australian. Vote lamb on Australia Day. You know it makes sense. I'm Sam Kekovich.
Authorised by D. Thompson for the Australia Day party, spoken by yours truly.
My fellow Australians, it is my solemn duty to inform you that it's time to abolish Australia Day. Our annual Lamb Fest hasn't stopped un-Australianism racing through the land like horse flew through a Japanese jockey club. For example, if I see another binge-drinking, pill-popping, powder-sniffing footballer making a tearful television apology, I'll blow a fuse. Australia Day has had its day. We need Australia Week, a 7-day lambathon, to properly celebrate our great nation. Instead of one public holiday, we need 7. Instead of one lamb barbie, we need 21 lamb meal opportunities, not including snacks. Which imbecile thought one day was long enough anyway? Look at the Olympics, Oktoberfest, the Turkish Oil Wrestling Festival. Even APEC gets a week. And that's just a bunch of blokes in funny shirts. Apart from Helen Clark, who does a passable impersonation of a bloke anyway. The placard-waving, police-bashing weed worshippers may protest about it, but it's nothing a few blasts from a water cannon can't fix. They could do with a wash. And if they're still too un-Australian to chomp a few chops with the rest of us, send them to Nauru. The Refugee Processing Centre has plenty of palm trees they can hug. I'll be petitioning our new PM to officially recognise Australia Week. If you still call Australia home, stack the fridge full of lamb. Take the week off and celebrate with me. Any boss that won't let you is a bum. Just chuck a week of sickies instead. What could be more Australian than that? So don't be un-Australian. Serve lamb this Australia Week. You know it makes sense. I'm Sam Kekovich. My fellow Australians, the world economy is rooted, and it's all due to one thing, un-Australianism. Wall Street wankers and bottom-feeding billionaire bankers stuffing their wallets at the expense of battlers. It's about as un-Australian as it gets. Sadly, Australia is not immune. We've been seduced by 48-month interest-free internet fridges that are smarter than the average stockbroker. Our Olympians sold themselves, flogging undies and waterproof laptops while the Brits were flogging us on the medals table. And how can you splurge $130 million on a 3-hour movie called Australia and not spend 1 cent on showing a lamb barbie? What a load of bulldust! We need to return to the egalitarian values that made Australia great, embodied in our national dish, the barbecued lamb chop. A chop tastes the same in a designer outfit as it does in stubbies and thongs. Which reminds us, you don't need to be an overpaid pinstripe parasite from a millionaire's factory. To be truly happy, you just need a chop and a cold one. The short-selling, rogue-trading corporate crooks may disagree with me, but they can go jump. And if they don't know the way, I'll push them in the right direction. So the message is clear. The only rescue package we need is wrapped in butcher's paper and filled with nice, juicy lamb chops, because there's only one way to beat the credit crunch. Munch lamb. Not just me, only every Australian. The whole bloody lot of you, taking up the tongs and being Sam Kekovich. Can we change things if we all unite as a nation?
Yes, we can!
So don't be un-Australian. Serve lamb on Australia Day. You know it makes sense.
We're Sam Kekovich!
My fellow Australians, and the rest of you, mankind is facing a pandemic that threatens its very existence. Un-Australianism. As a planet, we're not eating enough lamb. Liru, Shiyu Jung Warren, Dubuyong, Tam de Quaid, Chuyang Pai. Consequently, un-Australian behaviour is rife worldwide. In my own region, rugby league teams touring New Zealand would do a lot better if they shared lamb cutlets in their hotel rooms instead of what's on offer at the pub. And why can't English speakers pronounce Turkey here properly? Fancy calling a proud nation Turkey. What a load of Istanbul. People of the world. It's time to focus on what truly unites us. Lamb. What do Iraq and Barack have in common? Iraq in their name. Is there anyone in the Middle East who doesn't love a lamb feast? We could revive peace talks and bring everyone back to the table by renaming the holy city Jerusalem. And as anyone that's had a curry in Pakistan knows, is lamb bad? Of course it bloody well isn't. So the message is clear. Our world would be a better place if we were more Australian. If we all came together as mates over a lamb barbie, just like we do down under. Which is why I'm asking the United Nations to declare January the 26th International Australia Day. A day when every citizen of the world throws some chops on the grill and proudly proclaims, Ich bin ein Barbecuer. That should just about get me the Nobel Peace Prize next year. So don't be un-Australian. Eat lamb on International Australia Day. You know it makes sense. I'm Sam Kekovich. Friends, bogans, countrymen, put down your beers. Europe is under threat. This time, it's not the volcano that, like any typical European, has an unpronounceable name and smokes too much. It's un-Australianism. It's sweeping through the continent faster than spread betting through a subcontinent cricket team, which is why the Euro economy is having about as much success as Mel Gibson getting a date, or the BP chairman asking for a bonus. Europe has lost sight of its lamb heritage. You've got the EU headquarters in a city named after a sprout. The French eating frog's legs instead of lamb legs. Cafes in Amsterdam serving the wrong type of joint. And the Greeks have gone from lamb and pitta to deep-fried chook and pizza. What a bunch of cretins. And they can stop gloating about inventing democracy too. It took almost as long to work out who was running Australia as it did to find out the winner of Australia's next top model. No wonder so many people go the donkey vote. Sorry, Stavros. The Italians are on the right track. Lambretta, Lambrusco, Lamborghini. But there's still a long way to go. So the message is clear. If Europe wants to fix its problems and be truly united, it should join Australia in throwing some lamb on the barbie and celebrating International Australia Day on January 26th. Together, we can rid the world of this dark spectre of un-Australianism. We shall light them on the beaches. We shall light them in the streets. And we shall never surrender our tongs until our chops are perfectly cooked. So wherever you're from, don't be un-Australian. Eat lamb on International Australia Day. You know it makes sense. I'm Sam Kekovich. My fellow Australians, it's been a year of calamity. Natural disasters, revolutions, economic turmoil, and to top it off, un-Australianism has gone viral. It's been spreading faster than pics of Pippa Middleton's rump on Facebook. And things have really hit rock bottom in popular culture. For example, the gossip mags have really gone googly-eyed over Shane Warne, who went from bowling overs to makeovers to get his leg over, bleaching his pearlies for Hurley. The old Warnie would never have chosen a starlet over a cutlet, or tweeting over eating. And is it any wonder Charlie Sheen's lost his sparkle when he's always off his chops? Our lack of lamb has led to a litany of lamentable behaviour. We go gaga over a lady that wears a dress made out of lamb instead of eating it. We gawk at Kim Kardashian's exposed nuptials. We salivate over the TV trial of Michael Jackson's doctor. If only Jacko had popped chops instead of pills, he might still be with us, and a lot less pale and anemic. And don't get me started on reality television. What kind of society are we living in when you can win one of those dancing talent shows without doing the lambada? Popular culture's so un-Australian. I've decided to create chopular culture instead. So, I'm changing my tune. I'm releasing my own chop song. If the Dalai Lama can spread kormas instead of karma on MasterChef, why can't I reincarnate myself as a chop star? So don't be an Australian. Get Barbie Girl to the top of the pops and make lamb your number one on Australia Day. You know it makes sense. I'm Sam Kekovich. My fellow Australians, recently I got hit on the head and haven't been feeling myself since. I've been crooked than Lance Armstrong on a tour of a blood bank. I've got lamnesia. It makes you forget about what makes this country great and fills your head with a load of un-Australian bull dust. See for yourself. I dream about clapping for a bloke named Seal when I should be giving lamb a standing ovation. I feel like shaking my rump when I should be cooking one. But don't cry for me, Australia. Leave that to the Argentinians. I've seen symptoms of lamnesia everywhere. No wonder our Olympians weren't much chop in London. If they'd spent more time diving into plates of lamb instead of each other's beds, we'd be swimming in medals. Now I'm taking treatment into my own hands. I've got a hunch that every munch of lamb keeps you Australian and fights off glamnesia. Which is why I've created the National Lambnesia Test. It lets you know how un-Australian you really are. So the message is clear. Take the test and help stamp out lambnesia quicker than a season of the Shire. Wake up, Australia. Let's not go off our chops. Let's keep them where they belong, on our barbies and in our hands, on Australia Day. You know it makes sense? I'm Sam Kekovich. My fellow Australians, after 10 years as Lambassador fighting un-Australianism, I'm taking a step back. After all, I don't want to linger on like a skivvy-wearing children's entertainer. So now you must educate the new generation about the perils of a lambless life. Teaching a tot to love lamb is the most pressing duty of every Aussie parent, like you, sir. If you don't have sprogs of your own, then teach someone else's how it's done. Because we want these little cherubs to grow up big and strong to fight un-Australianism. Tofu? If we'd argued less about Gonski and talked more about Chopsky, our nation's future would look much brighter. Don't be un-Australian. Teach those little ankle biters to be chop munchers. Barbecue lamb on Australia Day and show them how it's done. You know it makes sense? I'm Sam Kekovich.
Where's my glass? Captain. Richie.
Cookie, where are you?
Don't know. What's up?
Can you make an Australia Day barbie at my place? Bit of cricket, couple of lamb chops. You in?
Yeah, all right.
I love those cutlets.
Yeah, is Bert coming?
Barbecue? Yeah, I'm keen. Wills?
Yeah, keen.
He's keen.
Sounds lovely, Richie. I'll round up the gang.
Stop! Shut up! I'm on the board! Stop!
Get in touch with Bradman.
No answer.
Typical.
A barbie, Richie. I'd love to.
Brilliant.
I'll make the Lamingtons.
2 for 22.
1 sec, Ida.
Australia Day barbie at your joint, I hear.
Nope.
I'm busy, Richie.
Oh, come on, Sam.
All right, I'm in. You know what I'm bringing, and it's not tofu.
So everyone's in?
Yeah, stoked.
Too right.
Affirmative.
Fantastic.
Hang on. Ned, haven't you gone veggie?
That's a shame.
No, I'm gluten intolerant.
That's not even a real thing.
It is a real thing. It's in me family. My mother had it, my father had it, now
You're
I got
delusional, Ned.
it. I'm not a veggie. I like lamb.
Marvellous. Lamb's on.
We're going to need some ice.
Why don't you bring ice? You never bring anything.
Barbecue, Richie! Hey! Spin this bad boy around.
Warsaw, winter, 96. -17, and not a char-grilled chop in sight. That was no way to spend Australia Day. We'll never let that happen to another Australian again. Commence Operation Boomerang.
Right now, there's thousands of Australians stranded overseas.
The snowball's chance in hell of eating lamb on Australia Day.
Let's go get them.
My finger's warm. That's bad. Let's go.
We're bringing you home for Australia Day.
You've been here 3 months. It's time to go home.
Come on, mate. A few hours, you'll be eating lamb on the beach.
But I'm a vegan now.
report.
Get him out of there.
Vegans.
Sorry, Mitch. No one retires from backyard cricket. Gary, get out of the pool.
We're coming home, folks, and not a minute too soon. The Kookaburra has landed.
So, are we smelling the lamb?
Yes, Prime Minister, the barbecue is lit.
Well done.
Well done. Never.
Cuckoo!
Hi, I'm Luke Jacobs with a Z, and I'm here to address concerns that too many perky white males are contributing to a lack of diversity on our screens.
We couldn't agree more. Hey, Sakura. Hey, Mustafa. So we're getting together over the ultimate cross-cultural protein to help put this right. We've got everyone in the room.
Well, technically, it's not a room.
Hey, let's not be spaces. Exactly. Hey, Dad. Sorry. We've got all the stands. Got Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and this guy, Stan. People of color? I mean, who isn't? Oh, we've got our white whites, translucent whites, beige whites, red whites, and our dark whites who are darker than the light dark guys.
It's a thing.
All religions, faiths, and beliefs.
Can I talk to you about Jesus?
Yeah, sure.
He's talking the footy.
It's Jesus.
Jesus. Ooh, thank you. Oh, and of course, Jordan's here. She's Greek.
And proud.
Do you know what the best thing is about diversity? Everything. So let's stop talking about it and get together over the meat that doesn't discriminate. Right. Lamb's ready. So, who was here first?
That'd be us.
Right, you are.
First here. Hey, what do you reckon? Cracking spot. Fire up the barbie. Anyone else coming?
Oh, a beautiful spot like this, it'll be packed before you know it. Oh, here we go.
Did you organise the chips and dips?
Yeah.
Great spot.
Oh, thank you.
How long have you guys been here?
Since forever, mate.
Hey, where you mob from? We, sir, are from Great Britannia. We are the first fleet.
Yeah, not quite, mate.
Bonjour. Oh, my God, it's the French.
Homage.
It's the Germans. Well, at least they brought their own.
Who's bringing the ice?
How many bags do we need, Dougie? Keep shipping, Shackles. It's going to be big. Oh, fiddlestick.
My charge rod. Hey, where'd you get those?
This week.
What's this? 16th First Fleet.
Oi, it's the Italians, the Greeks, and Serbians?
Hey, mate, do you know where the backyard is?
Got about 4,000 k's of it out here. Need a wicket?
Trust me, we need one of these around 2 a.m. Chili sauce? You did remember to let the neighbours know, right?
Yeah. So it's barbecue, eh, bro?
Hey, where should we put the chili bin?
I couldn't keep them away.
Should we crack a vegan joke?
It's not a party without ice. Oh, fiddlestick.
Hey, guys, what's the occasion?
Do we need one?
Look, it's the boat people.
Hang on. Aren't we all boat people?
And you're welcome.
What is love? Look, it's the float people.
Hello, Dale.
Hi, guys.
Thanks for having us, guys. Great spot for a barbecue.
Best in the world.